And we are live. What's up, guys? Welcome to the episode.
Hi
The,
everyone, good
yeah.
evening. Welcome to another episode.
Hope you guys have enjoyed our previous two episodes. If you have, let us know.
Yeah, 30 views. So many people are watching. So
Exactly.
good.
And we
Yeah, I
have
think we should
exactly
trend. We
32
should trend.
subscribers.
We should trend in the bottom list.
Yeah, exactly.
We should. Yeah, at least we have 100% conversion rate. Like all our subscribers, at least we are
Yeah,
watching.
we are very happy with that. Very happy
Great
with that.
going, guys.
Very happy with
Great
that.
going, guys.
Yeah.
Yes,
So,
yes, yes. I
so
think the 30 of them should make a community, share the videos with each other.
exactly.
We'll do a membership. We'll start a membership as well.
Yeah,
So for the
exactly.
30 members.
We are
We
optimistic.
should,
It's just that
YouTube.
we're optimistic.
Yeah. YouTube should definitely make us trend.
Yeah,
For the amount of work we are putting in, and for the
for sure.
fans we have 32 fans. I mean, which podcaster has 32 fans, dude? Joe Rogan should be jealous. We should sign a deal with Spotify.
Okay,
Spotify, if
okay.
you're listening to this, you guys
Okay.
are killing it.
Yeah, I wish that was possible. I wish that was possible. But let's come back to reality. And
Yeah.
yeah. So today I think we are gonna pick off where we left off yesterday. We are gonna pick off with match day one.
Yeah.
So I think we only discussed about the
Yeah.
Saturday games and we didn't touch up on the Sunday games, right?
This is the part
So
two.
yeah, this is the part two. So first we'll begin with Leicester. Leicester played against West Brom away, and they played a very solid game, 3-0.
Well, it was quite evenly contested, I would say, in the first half. But in the
Yeah,
second half, yeah, Leicester came back to life.
yeah,
I think that's what Brendan Rodgers brings to you on the table, brings on the
exactly.
table. So thankfully, I had Jamie Vardy in my team.
I
He
missed
got
him,
me two
dude. I
goals.
didn't put him. I didn't put him.
You know why? You know why? Because I was just going through these FPL related news on
Yeah,
the Premier League app. So
yeah.
they said Jamie Vardy has always consistently scored against West Brom. West Brom
Uh,
only, right? Yeah,
yeah.
at West Brom Stadium.
Oh,
So he's been scoring there for the past 5 fixtures. So I was
so
sure he'll do something here as well. So because of that, I put Vardy in my team, and he got me 2 penalties. So I'm not complaining.
I know, dude. I thought at least West Brom would bring up a good defense and Leicester would find it hard to break them down. But they got two penalties,
Mm-hmm.
dude. And especially Vardy
Yeah,
scored two
yeah, yeah.
penalties. Oh
Exactly,
God.
exactly. And I think their new signing, Castagna, he
Yeah,
also managed to get on the score sheet with
yeah,
a fantastic header.
yeah.
So that was a great debut for him as well. Actually, one of the best, not one of the best, I would say, one of the most impactful performance by a debut player, right? In one of the
Yeah,
weeks. We'll
yeah,
get to that later
yeah,
because we'll have to obviously talk about James and all of that stuff. So
yeah.
yeah,
So all in
great
all,
game.
yeah,
I am
Leicester,
not complaining
yeah,
because
Leicester
Jamie
had
Vardy
a
got me 2 points.
proper game, where they laid out their plan and they executed it to perfection, right?
Yeah, so
Yeah,
nothing much to discuss there. They played to their potential.
exactly. So now let's move on to Sheffield versus Wolves. 2-0. Sheffield won
Oh,
away against.
yeah.
I mean,
I
Wolves won
didn't
against Sheffield.
exactly. I didn't expect Sheffield to concede 2 goals.
Yeah,
I thought they would. I mean, if not score but because they have a very good defensive record, I thought they might hold
yeah,
Wolves to a 0-0 draw or maybe max to max a 1-1 draw.
yeah,
But kudos to Wolves, man. They got their attacking options right, and I was surprised that Adama Traore, he
yeah.
was playing as a right back. I don't know why, for what reason.
No,
Like
I know
usually he plays on the wings. He
yeah,
moves
he,
ahead.
he
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 pushes
was
ahead.
he was actually playing as a right midfielder.
No, but most of the times he was just covering up the defense.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
saw the game. I managed to see the game. He
yeah.
was just covering the defense, and he rarely moved forward, and he was rarely a threat.
So that's
I
because
felt because he was just
the formation for Wolves was 3-4-3.
right.
So
But he clearly played as a defensive.
yeah,
He played as a right back.
yeah, so he
But
played
I'm
more like
hoping,
a attacking fullback, so getting back and defending
yeah,
and at the same time attacking a little bit.
maybe to provide some sort of creativity on the flanks. But
Yeah,
none of those happened.
yeah, exactly.
But I'm hoping against City that would happen because they're playing City next. So
Yeah,
I'm hoping they will, because I have him in my team and he was so disappointing. Like he played well,
yeah,
but he didn't give me any points. He just got me 3 points.
Yeah.
So I was wondering maybe he could give some assists to Jimenez and all that stuff. None of that worked out.
I was
Only against
actually,
City.
yeah, I was actually expecting the new signing that they made, like who's making all the buzz, Fabio Silva, the 50
Fabio
million,
Silva,
I think 50 million or 35, I think they paid for him.
35.
Yeah,
That's what he
35.
mentioned in the previous
Yeah,
podcast.
yeah. So they paid him 35, like the highest club fee that they have paid to any player, and he's only 18, and he's been touted out to be the next Ronaldo or something like that. So I was
Where
expecting
is he
him
from?
to.
Which club is he from?
I think he came from, I don't know exactly. I think it might be Sporting.
Lisbon
Yeah, I think so.
or Porto?
Yeah, I know. Oh, no, I think it's Porto, I think. Okay, wait, let me just check.
Okay.
Uh,
Because if I remember vaguely of from what he said
mhm.
in the first episode, I think it was Porto.
Yeah, I think it was Porto. Yeah, he's from Porto. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, FC Porto.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
nice.
he's been touted as being the
But
next big player for Portugal. So I was surprised to not see him in the game.
okay, maybe like I don't know because when the transfer season began, when this transfer market started, I mean the buzz around this transfer market started. There was no hype around this kid, and
Yeah.
I didn't come across his name at all. Maybe it's that reason. Not a
Yeah.
lot of people are known to the fact that maybe he might be a good player because I got to know once you mentioned him in our first podcast.
Mhm.
That's when I found out about this kid.
Yeah.
And maybe because there is no hype around him, I don't know if there is any proven if there is something in proof. Maybe like the manager wants to see how good he is in training,
True.
and based on that he will add him into the team. Let's see. Let's probably
Yeah,
wait
it's
for a few
still
more
first
matches.
match, and also like players who come from other leagues who are not from the Premier League, they need time to get acclimated to the league because the league is much more intense and much more faster than every other league, right? So I
Exactly.
think he's just
And
slowly
they have
transitioning him into the team.
correct. And I think he's a replacement for Jimenez. But
Yeah.
as long as Jimenez is doing well, I don't think I'm not sure if he could substantiate his performances to the level where he can be a regular starter. You know what I mean? So because as long as Jimenez is playing well, he will always be the preferred first choice. And Jimenez has been wonderful in the past season.
But I feel like he
but
actually.
I don't know what formation they play. Do they play 3-5-2 or you said 3-4-3, right?
So the last game they actually played 3-5-3.
Okay, 3-5-3.
Yeah,
3-5-3 you can't play. 3-5-2.
Sorry,
3-5-2
3-4-3.
Hmm.
Yeah. So they played 3-4-3.
So Jimenez as the lone striker. No, not lone striker. Jimenez if they play 3-4-3, the front three will be Traore on the right. In center it will be Jimenez. Who's on the left?
No. Jimenez is on the right, who sometimes comes into the middle.
No, right winger is always Traore.
No. So in this game, actually, Traore played as a right midfielder.
Right back.
And yeah.
No, I'm telling usually. Generally, I think the squad. This guy plays on the right.
Yeah. So Jimenez plays on the center, and Neto plays in the left, and Traore plays on the right.
Correct. Yeah.
So
where will this kid play? What is he generally? Is he like a winger or is he like
he's
a
midfielder?
striker?
He's a midfielder.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a CM.
Okay.
So
okay.
basically a CM and also sometimes a attacking midfielder as well.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know. The lot of buzz is going around this kid. So let's see what he can do in the club. Like
man.
Like he feels like more like a replacement for Moutinho in the club because Moutinho is getting a little bit old. He doesn't have the legs.
Yeah, he's quite old. He's quite old.
Yeah. So he feels like a proper young, fresh replacement for Moutinho.
Okay.
Yeah. So
because I had no insights into this kid. I had no idea where he's playing and all that stuff.
Yeah. But actually, like the game wasn't as one-sided as Wolves, as like the scoreline suggests. Like, there were some couple of mistakes that Sheffield
they
made.
They just managed to get some early goals, right? I saw bits and pieces from the first half. Then I just I didn't follow the match.
Yeah, so Sheffield had a very sluggish start, and they actually capitalized on that, and they scored the first 2 goals in under 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I was expecting it to be a very good side because. Like I'm not sure. Like I'm not sure if I can say that because both teams have had a very good defensive record.
Yeah.
Even Wolves have been one of the best defensive teams.
True.
So I was not expecting it to be like a goal fest of match.
Yeah.
But did expect some action. I don't know what happened because I just followed like 10-15 minutes of the first half.
Yeah.
And
But anyways, it's the first match. I mean, you can't just predict what a team is going to do for the entire season. So let's see what happens. Maybe they might
Right,
sign a few
right.
players before the transfer window ends.
Transfer window ends. Yeah. Hopefully this kid does well, man. Fabio Silva, right?
Fabio Silva, yeah.
Yeah. Premier League has always been the platform for young stars to shine.
Yeah, exactly.
So hopefully he does well. Let's see.
So now let's move on to one of the big games of Sunday, and that was Tottenham versus Everton.
What a disappointment, my God!
Right?
What a disappointment.
I had Son
Classic
in my
Mourinho.
FPL.
What else can you say?
I had Son
Same.
in my FPL, dude. Shit.
That was probably, I don't know if you call you might want to call it a blunder.
Yeah.
I removed Salah and instead of him I put Son.
Oh my God.
What a move. I thought it will be a genius move.
Yeah.
Went on to prove what a bad move it was.
Like, I mean, they played so, like, obviously when it comes to Mourinho, you kind of expect that he's going to play defensively, but they were creating chances, but the finishing wasn't there. And also sometimes they looked lost, like they didn't know when to pass and where to pass. I don't know what's going on with Spurs.
Yeah. Did you watch the documentary All or Nothing?
Okay. So I have so many things to say about the documentary. First of all, the title. What is All or Nothing? They obviously started with nothing and they ended up with nothing. What is All or Nothing?
Yeah, there is no arc for them to celebrate or
exactly.
to highlight. Like how Leeds or like City had.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think maybe the highlight of the season was they sacked Mauricio Pochettino and signed Mourinho.
Yeah.
And Mourinho just going on the video saying that you guys should play like a bunch of cunts and bastards.
Exactly.
I was just laughing my ass out.
Basically, the title should be From All to Nothing, because from all they were in the Champions League final to nothing under Mourinho. So the title should be From All to Nothing. Like, it doesn't make any sense. All or nothing. Oh my God.
Or from Pochettino to Mourinho.
Yeah, exactly.
That should be the title.
Oh my, it doesn't make any sense.
But you know what? Like, no matter how shit your team is, it doesn't really matter. But if you have Mourinho at the helm of affairs, your team will be a sellout. Like, not sellout, your team will be a blockbuster.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
for sure.
like, if you have Mourinho on any poster or the cover of anything, it will definitely sell because Mourinho is this pure box office material.
And also, Mourinho knows how to bring on the drama, how to bring in the TV. Like, he knows how to bring on a character.
Yeah, he knows how to perform in front of a camera, right?
Exactly.
He's done that for his entire life, and he's, as we all know, as United fan knows how much animated and how entertaining he is when the camera is turned on.
Exactly.
So I think no better team than Tottenham Hotspurs for All or Nothing.
And after he lost the match, he actually gave up. I mean, in the post-match press conference, he actually said to the press that he actually needs a lot more players than they have now.
Yeah.
So he
but it was damn sad. It was damn sad because they went through a lot of injury session.
Exactly.
I mean, most of their first team regular players were injured. Players like Kane, Son, and all of those people, all the main people. So they were just operating on academy players.
Yeah, they have to bring in a lot more like creativity when it comes to creating chances, and also at the same time they need to defend well as well. Like, I think in this match they started with Tony Alderweireld and also Eric Dyer. I don't really see Dyer as like a proper player, defensive player who can actually maintain
because
that
defense. He was always that defensive central midfielder, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And Mourinho is completely not Mourinho. I think even towards the end of Pochettino's reign, he was employed as centre back.
Yeah.
Like, I've never seen Dyer play as a centre back apart from the last season.
And he doesn't have the composure to do so as well. And he doesn't have the composure to do so as well.
Yeah, he's very hot-headed.
Yeah, exactly.
He's kind of hot-headed. But he's a lot of people in that team say that he is one of the hardest players.
Yeah.
Him and Sissoko.
Sissoko. Yeah, he has, both of them have a lot of influence in the dressing room.
Correct. But what did you think of the documentary? Did you enjoy it? I actually enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Like, obviously, there was some drama that happened. I mean, there will always be a drama in a team when they don't achieve a lot of titles and if they don't win a lot of titles, right? Yeah, so basically that's
And
that's what
and
they had.
Mourinho is just leading things. Mourinho just everything that he says is just so funny, man.
I
The
know.
fact that, and I think what he says is right, that Spurs players are just too nice to play in the Premier League, right?
Exactly,
I
exactly,
don't
maybe.
think they have that winning and go getter wala
Yeah, yeah,
attitude.
yeah. True, 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 true,
That's
true.
why Mourinho, in typical Mourinho fashion, says that you guys need to be cunts, motherfucking cunts, to play in the Premier League. Which
From
just
from episode, he has been telling them you need to be bad guys, not good guys. You need to be cunts, you need to be assholes.
you need to you need to play like bastards. If
Yeah,
you don't play like bastards, you're fucked.
yeah, yeah. You're. He's been saying that, and these people are not even doing that. I don't even know what that
you
means. But
you know what's the funniest scene? The scene that I found the funniest
yeah,
is when Mourinho says to his players that I am not angry with y'all. I'm just upset that my dog died. And Kane asks him, Gaffer, what dog was it? He says, Yorkshire Terrier fucking decides to die on the 24th of December. Fucking hell. with that poker face of Mourinho, just
oh
so
god,
funny. I had to pause the documentary and laugh my ass out. Just it was so entertaining to watch.
it is
Guys, if you
so
haven't
good.
watched All or Nothing Spurs, you should watch it. It's on Amazon Prime. Check it out.
So
Amazing.
basically, what I got from the documentary was Mourinho, and also how the team works and all that, and also the Tottenham Stadium. They talk about the stadium
Oh yeah,
so much. Like, okay, we get it. You
correct.
guys have built like a futuristic stadium, but we get it. Enough with the stadium, man.
But yeah, exactly. What else do they have to show on the documentary
Yeah,
apart from Mourinho and some
exactly.
technical snags like this?
Oh my, like they didn't even show a lot of fans in the documentary as well. Like when you compare to the Leeds documentary, like mostly it was
Yeah,
fans and the team. But
and
in
also
this,
the City version, All or
yeah,
Nothing City, Manchester
yeah,
City one.
exactly. But in this, there was like Stadium Mourinho, Stadium Mourinho, Stadium Mourinho. There was nothing else.
Yeah. But I
Oh
quite
God.
enjoyed it. It was a very fun ride. I
Yeah.
generally liked it.
So okay, so now
But
let's
getting back to and talking about the
yeah.
game,
Yeah. So now I
what a
think we
game
need to
Everton had, man.
yeah, exactly.
And
Like
what a game James played.
yeah, like Carlo Ancelotti, like he's starting to make Everton look like a pretty serious team. Like with the players that he has gotten from the transfer window, like James Rodriguez, like I feel like that is gonna be one of
Yeah,
the signings of the summer for sure. I mean, signings of the transfer
for sure.
window
For sure.
for sure.
I mean, James always had the potential and the talent.
Exactly.
It was just a matter of the manager that he played for.
And also,
I
like he has
mean,
been plagued by a lot of injuries, and like
correct,
the
correct.
uncertainty
But
around these
out of
teams
all
that he
the
has played
time,
against.
exactly. But I think out of all the time that he spent at Madrid or Bayern, he's been amazing, dude. It's
Yeah,
just that, like you mentioned,
yeah,
he's been ravaged through by injuries, a lot of injuries,
yeah,
which in turn cut a lot of play time that he generally deserves.
yeah,
A player of his caliber deserves a lot more playing time.
yeah,
But out of the time that he's got on the pitch, he's always performed better
yeah.
than at least what a lot of those other douchebags in Madrid, or I
True.
can't say Bayern, but Madrid, at least Madrid, he performed.
But I'm actually surprised that Everton got James, like because James was in like
I
I'm
think
guessing.
James wanted a new challenge.
No, I know. I'm
So that's
guessing.
that's the only reason he wanted to
No,
go.
I'm just guessing. Like like player like James and a player like Bale. They are like on like significantly higher wages than any other player in the Premier League. And the way that
Yeah,
Everton got him for such a cheap price, it actually shows like Everton did some really smart business in the transfer market.
yeah, for sure. Because I mean, like he was not having any impact on the team that he was playing for, which was
Yeah,
Bayern.
yeah,
Because Bayern is already full of superstars, right? Where
yeah,
can this guy go and play? So
exactly.
I think it was just that mental stigma that let him, fuck it. I just want some proper regular game time.
Yeah,
If Premier League is the destination where I can get all of this, so
yeah,
might as well make that my next destination. And
true.
Everton is a decent team, right?
Yeah.
If not like at least the top six teams, it could challenge for the top six
And
position.
with a manager like
And
Ancelotti, for sure.
yeah, and exactly like a manager. I mean, with a manager like Ancelotti, you never
Yeah,
know what they can combine and deliver. So
yeah, true.
yeah, and he had a wonderful first game, wonderful debut.
Yeah, like
It was
their
so nice
defense,
to watch him.
like the defense looks so solid. Like with Kane, Mina, I think Seamus Coleman, and also Dingy. Like
Calvin,
yeah,
yeah,
like
Calvert Lewin, Richarlison, all of these people.
Yeah, like one of the highlights of the goal was Dingy putting in that cross, and Calvert-Lewin scoring the goal. I feel like I feel like they have like a really solid backline, and the midfield and the the strikers are the one who should be like properly progressing the team forward.
Yeah, and fun fact, this was I think the first game in so many years that Tottenham managed to defeat a top 6 opponent.
Yeah.
I read the stat somewhere.
Yeah.
So that's one reason again why I put Son in my team, because I was sure that Son would
score. Yeah.
Because in the previous outings, Tottenham have always lost to Spurs.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Arey, this game, Pakka Son, hat-trick."
Yeah, exactly.
And all of that. Yeah.
But did you watch the match? Like, did you watch the match?
No, I saw bits and pieces.
So like Everton played really well, like solid in the back, and going forward they were like looking like they're gonna score every single time. But the one thing that was so irritating, and I would say one of the negative point when it comes to Everton, was Richarlison.
Richarlison was piss poor, is what I heard.
Richarlison
was he subbed? Was he subbed for Calvert-Lewin?
No, he wasn't subbed. Actually, Calvert-Lewin was subbed.
Okay.
So, like,
who started, Richarlison or Calvert-Lewin?
No, both of them started. So Richarlison was the one who was playing on the left. But Richarlison was so bad. Like, obviously, like going forward with taking the ball into the opposition's box, he was good at that. Okay, but his finishing was so bad. His finishing and the way to look for people, like the way to pass to other people, like it was so bad. Like it wasn't even funny. Like they could have probably scored. I think maybe they could have probably won by 3 or 4-0 if it wasn't for Richarlison. That's how bad he was. That's how bad it was. Like even the commentators were like so bored by his, turning his chances into goals. I mean, not turning his chances into goals.
Not converting.
Yeah.
Richarlison, where you should play? You should play at United. That's the perfect spot for you. Because our strikers never finish too.
Please. Hey, no, our striker is one of the most lethal striker in the Premier League right now.
No. Yeah. If you, maybe Martial and Greenwood, but not Rashford though.
No, like
Rashford
we scored,
so
like after the lockdown, we were the United actually were the one who scored the most goals in the Premier League after the lockdown.
Yeah.
After Bruno Fernandes came in, like we were the team who had the most goals, one of the best defense, and also at the same time who got the most points.
Oh, nice. Yeah. That's why.
So there are a lot of people who actually kind of are talking that if Bruno Fernandes had came in the beginning of the season, maybe United could have even gone to second as well.
Yeah, you can always work around ifs and buts like that.
Yeah.
But the reason why I'm telling this is because United have had a history, at least in the last 4 or 5 years. I mean, not 4 or 5 years, 2 or 3 years, wherein our finishing have not been as good as we want it to be.
Yeah.
And one of the one very fine example is the Europa League semi-finals against Sevilla, oh my God, how many chances did we have in that second half, man? We should have easily scored at least 4 goals, and none of it we managed to convert.
But I felt like for that match we were more tired than anyways, we'll get into that, but anyways, we'll finish up with this one. Like Everton look really good as in this year, so I feel like Everton can actually move up in the Premier League table this year. And finally, the last game that we actually want to talk about and have a lot of opinion on.
We actually predicted almost. We actually got the prediction almost right. We had predicted 3-0, and Chelsea managed to get a 3-1 victory. But what 3-1. A scrappy victory, no?
Yeah, it was a very scrappy. Like I felt like actually Brighton were actually robbed by Chelsea. I felt like it was more like
Brighton at least deserved a draw, man.
Yeah, at least deserved
a respectable draw. Yeah.
Because like Chelsea,
because they were so good in the first half, so good. I mean, it was hard to believe that a Chelsea team assembled by Lampard, which is full of superstars at the moment, was finding it hard to maintain position. They were just scrambling. They were just finding it so hard to keep the position intact and string together one decent pass, because all of their passes were missed passes. Havertz had so many missed passes. And Brighton were just so good, so organized, even when while they were attacking on the flanks with their fullbacks, and even the crosses and the set pieces, which were damn good. So I was really impressed. It was damn sad to see them lose 3-1, because they should have at least had 2 more goals.
Yeah. And also, like I would say, like some of the highlights for Chelsea would definitely be Timo Werner. Like we just saw a glimpse of what Timo Werner can bring into the
Glimpse.
Premier League. Like he got the
That
penalty for the
blistering
first goal.
pace. That blistering pace.
Yeah, and also like his dribbling abilities, shooting. I like there wasn't a lot of that. He was being shut down by the Brighton defense, but at the same time, the midfield wasn't as good on that day. Chelsea's midfield. And I really feel that that the reason might be because Kai Havertz was actually starting on the right instead of being in the middle. Like you remember when we were talking about Kai Havertz and we were arguing whether his position would be good on the right or in the middle. And I feel like that match clearly showed like he was more like an attacking midfielder than a right midfielder.
Okay. Who was on the center? Was it Mount or Loftus-Cheek?
It was
Loftus-Cheek had such a piss poor game. Man.
Yeah,
he
was in the center. Mount was in the right.
Okay.
I think.
Mount
always
plays well.
Mount always plays well. Yeah.
And Werner getting that assist, like that's how we got 4 points. He that, right? If you have a player who wins you penalty in the box, if he is fouled and he wins you penalty, that is counted as an assist in FPL.
Oh, okay. Nice. So at least I got an assist.
So make sure you put people in your team who are like this Neymar kind of players who wins penalties and all of this stuff, who dives, diving can't do.
Yeah. Exactly. So, but the most disappointing FPL player for me was definitely Son and Kai Havertz, man. Like I expected them to get at least some points for me.
You know who saved me? You know who saved my points haul? Reece James. I had Reece James in my team.
Oh.
He got a goal and an assist.
Damn it.
So if a defender gets your goal, it's 6 points.
Yeah.
And this was his first Premier League. I just put him in my team because he was a regular starter for Chelsea in the last season.
Yeah.
And he's good on the wings. And I thought maybe he could assist and all of that stuff. But
But what a goal.
Outperformed the expectations. Oh, what a thunderbolt that was.
Right. God. Oh my God.
Almost or ripped the net off.
Yeah, true, exactly. Like there were obviously before starting for Chelsea, like how we did for last season, there were glimpses saying that this kid is special. He's like
damn good, dude.
He might be like really the next Trent Alexander-Arnold, like that. Like going forward, really
Just imagine you're being picked over Aspie.
Yeah.
Azpilicueta, who's been one of the best right backs in Premier League.
Exactly.
And you're being picked over him. So you can imagine how good he is.
Exactly.
He's been really good for Chelsea last year. So that's one reason Lampard likes him and Lampard prefers him maybe over Aspie. This season, Aspie won't find as many starts as Aspie has had.
For sure.
So let's see.
But all in all,
I had Reece James in my team.
Yeah, but all in all, Chelsea did get that result. Every single team has that result, has that games where they don't play well, but at the same time, if you get a result that shows how good your team are and how composed your team can be. So I felt like Chelsea did that.
Yeah.
But obviously, the new signing needs some time to get acclimated to the Premier League.
For
and hopefully, I think after 4 or 5 games, I feel like we'll properly see what these players are really made of.
Correct. Not everybody are like Di Maria. You shine in the first 2 matches, then you curse the team for the rest of the season and then leave at the end of the season.
And then leave by taunting all the fans and all that when you come back and you become one of the most hated Manchester United player ever.
Yeah, I hope at least one of the Chelsea players goes through something like that.
I think they already have, right? I think some other player might have.
No, one of the new signings out of the 4 or 5 signings they've had.
Yeah. Chelsea fans who might be listening to this, they might be yelling at us.
Yeah, for the 1 or 2 Chelsea fans listening to this podcast.
Exactly, for the 1 or 2.
That's the fire you need.
Yeah, exactly. But so that was our recap for the match day 1. But all in all, a really good match day, like the Leeds game, and then after that, the Sunday games were actually pretty good. So I thoroughly enjoyed it, right? So I think now
I think before we move on to the transfers, Dhanush, how was your game week 1 in FPL?
I got 51 points. 51 points.
No, that's pretty good.
No, I know, but
pretty good.
But the players who didn't get points by me was it was Son and Kai Havertz. Dude, I expected so much points from them, and they let me down so much.
And I think Werner was your captain also. No, he just got 4 points, 4 or 5 points.
And my vice captain, I think my vice captain was Son, dude. And I really thought he would score a goal or at least assist Kane, and he didn't do shit.
Thankfully, I had Auba as my captain. He got me like 14 points.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, Oba actually, I knew Oba was gonna score, so hopefully he salvaged some points for me. But I really regret not putting Salah in my team. Like I wanted to put him, and then I was like, no, let me put Kai Havertz. Maybe Salah might not have a good game.
That is the biggest regret even I have, man.
Salah had 40 points. Salah alone got 40 points.
No, 40 points. That is if you made him captain. If you had not made him captain, 20 points. 20 points is still a lot.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
For one player.
It just irks me. But anyways, it's okay. It's okay.
I heard because I saw the Chelsea game. This guy Werner picked up a knock during the game, so he's a doubtful starter.
So
you might want to. You might want him to switch.
Yeah.
So even I have him on my team. I don't know what I'm.
I think I already have Bruno in my substitutes. So I feel like I think I'll put him on, and also I have Martial as well. So I think.
Okay, I'll probably get Martial because I don't have any United or City player in my team. So I might trade Werner for maybe Martial is listed as a forward or a midfielder.
He's a forward.
Yeah. So I might trade him for Martial. And Martial is cheap also compared to Werner. So I'll save 1 million. Let's see. Let's see.
And what about the no City players, right?
Who?
No City players, right? You haven't put any City players in your bench or in your team, right?
No City players, man. Shit. I really wanted to put De Bruyne, but since their game is against Wolves, you never know. So I'll gamble on De Bruyne and I'll keep him for the next week. I'll buy him next week. In the game week 3, I'll buy him. For now, I'll just stick with Martial. Even Bruno is very expensive.
Yeah, Bruno.
But then I'll have to trade my midfield. I'll keep Son for this game. I want to see because Son has an easy game. Easy fixture.
Yeah.
So I'll keep him in my team. Let's see.
So now let's talk about a little bit about transfers. So the big one that is Thiago moving to Liverpool for 30 million. Big move.
Oh, 30 million.
30 million.
Wow.
30 million.
How old is Thiago?
I think he is 29. I think he's 29.
30 million is still pretty good.
Yeah, 29 or 30. Yeah, he's 29. Yeah, 29.
And he's easily been one of the best central midfielders.
One of the best for sure. Like there were talks saying that
amazing signing.
There were talks saying that United were interested in him, and if United were interested in him, I am so mad that we didn't sign him. I'm so mad.
But I don't know who will you play him with? We already have Pogba. I think Pogba may not start this game, but we already have Pogba.
Thiago is more like a CDM he's more like a CM CDM, but I think he could play as a CDM.
But I think that's why we got Van de Beek also, right?
Yeah, but still, like if you were any club in the world, if you have a chance to sign Thiago, like why would you not sign him?
Sure.
Right.
Definitely.
Yeah,
but again, who are we not linked with? We are linked with every Tom, Dick, and Harry.
Yeah,
I think tomorrow we might even be linked with Sunil Chhetri if he's had a good season.
But like I'm kind of terrified of Liverpool's midfield. Like when you think about they have Thiago, Wijnaldum, Henderson.
No, Wijnaldum is leaving for sure. I feel he might go to Barca.
Oh yeah. So the I think the rumor was if Thiago signs for Liverpool, Wijnaldum will go to Barcelona. So I think I'll take Wijnaldum out of it. So Henderson, Keita, Thiago. And I would say Oxlade-Chamberlain as well. So pretty good.
Also, they have this new kid from the academy, Joel. Curtis Jones. Yeah. He's pretty good. He was pretty good.
Liverpool and also Fabinho as well.
Oh yeah, Fabinho as well.
Yeah. So
actually, it's agreed amongst football critics and football fans that their midfield may not look as lethal as it sounds.
Yeah,
I mean their midfield generally is not that great. It's usually the fullbacks and the front three that delivers. But the midfield has done their. They played their part in holding and linking up with the striker as well. So,
and also one of the main critic of Liverpool's midfield is their midfield is pretty old as well. Like when you take Fabinho, Thiago, and Thiago is very injury prone, so they have to be very careful with that guy.
Yeah.
So Thiago, Fabinho, and also Henderson, they're pretty old. They don't have the legs like every other midfielder in the Premier League. So they have to rely a lot on Keita, Chamberlain, and also Henderson as well, because he is someone who's not as injury prone as everyone else in the midfield position.
Exactly.
Right. So let's
moving
see.
On.
Moving on. So one of the other big news was Tottenham just signed Sergio Reguilon from
Region, yes.
Real Madrid for 30 million. I think it was 30 or
30
27 million.
million.
Yeah.
30. I think it was
Yes.
30 million.
So they signed him for 30, and also they are soon to sign Bale as well.
Yeah, Bale's agent has confirmed that Spurs have showed interest, and that Bale really wants to go back. So I think it will be happening.
And it's not a transfer. It's not a transfer. It's a loan. It's a loan for
early.
Yeah, it's a loan. Because
works for him.
Yeah, because they can't afford his fee right now. Because obviously, if you need to sell Bale, I think at least 50 million.
No, I think it will be Madrid would be agreeing to a wage cut. I think
I don't think so. I don't think so. No. Like even
because otherwise, I don't think Tottenham can afford him.
No. So right now, the only thing that Madrid what they want to do is like get Bale off their wage book, because he's earning 600K in Madrid and he's not even playing any one game for the team, right? So they want to offload that wage so that they can at least make some money to maybe get some signings. But I don't think Real Madrid will do
I don't think Spurs will 100K for him. They will obviously have a deal worked out between the two of them. It'll be at least half or maybe even less than that.
Yeah, maybe half like or maybe, or 300K. Maybe half. Yeah.
And I think it sounds fair also, because I think Bale more than anything wants game time and game time now.
Yeah,
than just going out and playing golf and earning a lot of money.
Yeah, but now I'm curious to see like how good Bale really is. Like, does he still have what he had previously before, like before he was benched and all that in Real Madrid? Like, I want to see Bale lighting up in the Premier League again. It'd be fun.
Yeah.
Right.
This is like that. This is like that fairy tale return that United was expecting from Ronaldo.
Exactly.
It's just that it is happening with Spurs and it is happening with Bale.
Exactly. So I don't know how it's going to be. And I think Chelsea are going to sign their goalkeeper as well very soon, Eduardo Mendy.
Yeah.
It's just taking a little bit more time because, they have to sort out their paperwork and all that. But I think they're going to sign him soon. Yeah. But other than that, I think the only other team...
What do you think about the Region deal? Like, do you think it's a good deal signing for Spurs?
I feel like,
do you think United missed out on Region and maybe United will regret?
No, I don't think so. I don't feel like a left back maybe was like an okay signing or not. Like I didn't really care about it because we have Brandon Williams, okay. But at the same time, Brandon Williams
has been like so bad, dude.
No, that's because that's again
as reliable.
Yeah, again. So Brandon Williams, one of the main reason why he hasn't been so good is because he plays in the left back instead of playing in the right back, because he's a right footer, right?
He's a right-footed, right-footed left back.
Exactly,
correct. Yeah. He's being played out of his position, right?
Yeah, but
you know what? I think I'll want to agree with you saying that maybe it may, like, even if I talk from a business perspective, it may not be a good investment for United, because 30 million for a player who's going to leave you after 2 years is just ridiculous.
Yeah, maybe.
This is absolutely ridiculous, I feel.
Yeah.
So, but Spurs desperately needs players in their team right now.
Yeah, and also, like, I don't think like it would have been a good signing for us, because we have a lot of academy players who are coming through, like players like Mengi and also Timothy Fosu-Mensah. They're actually trying to get into the first team as well. So I feel like a left back is something that we could get away from, but at the same time, we still haven't made any signings. It is so frustrating. Like, when are we gonna make signings? Like, we definitely, the position that I feel is very integral to United is a defender, central defender, and also a right winger. If Sancho gets in as a right winger, okay, I'm good with it. But if we don't even sign a defender, I'm okay with it, because if we don't sign a right winger, if we don't sign a defender, I want the club not to sell Smalling, because he has been really good at Roma. And if he really has made a lot of improvement in his game when he has been to Roma, I feel like he could maybe get into the team, and maybe that could strengthen our defense with, Maguire and Smalling. Because I think he had a certain spell in United where he was actually pretty good, right? Like, I think that
was just early 2000. Like, I think that was early 2010s, man. After he's been really bad.
I think when De Gea was having like his incredible spells of goalkeeping, I think Smalling actually did have a pretty good season as well. Like, there are people, I think I even remembering watching, like, he actually played as a really good, decent defender. So if Smalling had made the proper improvements in Roma, then I feel like maybe we can get away with a central defender. But I feel like Sancho, we need to get him. Like, because next season, I don't think we'll be able to get him, because I think because of COVID slowly dissipating, I think other clubs will be fishing for him. and he'll only have 1 year in his contract. So I think the price may even be reduced as well. So maybe other teams might be tempted to sign him. The same thing goes for Upamecano as well, right? Upamecano.
Yeah.
Where his clause will come
into effect. But I think Upamecano, he decided himself that he'll be wanting to stay with Leipzig for one more season, just to gain some experience. That's what he said.
But we could have signed him if we wanted to. Like next year he'll be going for 40 something million, right? So if we had just gone to RB Leipzig and told them that we'll pay 50 million, 10 million more and give us Upamecano Rao, obviously they would say
that was his release clause. No, his release clause was like 54 million. So United had to anyway pay 54.
Yeah, but because of the new contract, it went down to 40 something, 45 or something like that. So they could have just come to Upamecano, like RB Leipzig this year, and they could have just offered 10 or 15 million more, and they could have signed him if they really wanted to sign him. And Solskjaer is so frustrated
he wanted to stay. Yeah, but what I heard is he wanted to stay with Leipzig for one more season.
Maybe that could be because, United decided not to sign him because, they could sign him next year. Like, players could say that just to make the club, have good face, could even be that as well.
Yeah. But we certainly, in my opinion, need a centre back who can partner with Harry Maguire.
Yeah.
Because all our other viable alternatives have been really bad. So I don't really trust them.
But more than a central defender, I really want Sancho to come into it. Like Sancho would actually
we need creativity on the right, correct.
Yeah, like look at Bruno, like what he did in one, like when he came to the club, like he propelled us all the way to third. Like I think Sancho, if he comes in, I feel like we could go like close to that second position where City are right now. And we could obviously there are other ways to tighten up our defense by using our midfield, we could do that. But we need that attacking power, attacking prowess when going forward as well. Because we can't rely on an 18-year-old Greenwood who he's just got into the first team last year, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like we need to get Sancho.
Dortmund, if you guys want, we will offer even Lingard for you guys. Like
exactly.
Lingardinho
is one of the best players.
We'll give him for free. We'll give you Lingard for free. Like what? This could be the deal of the century if you guys take Lingard from us.
And also, like if you're not tempted by Lingardinho, we'll also put in the best defender in the world, Phil Jones, best defender in the world.
The Maldini of the Premier League.
The Maldini of the Premier League. Like he'll be scoring goals. Obviously, he'll be scoring goals for the opposite team, but he'll be scoring goals. So that's important.
Yeah.
So two phenomenal players we could offer you. So please, Dortmund, take them away. Yeah. Please.
This is an offer you can't refuse.
Exactly. Like
it's too good to be true.
I know. Like one of the main reason, and also another reason why I'm frustrated by United is why can't we clear out the deadwood? There are so many deadwood that we don't want in the club right now. Why can't we clear them?
And I think those guys occupy most of the humongous wages also in the wage chart.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
They're on such high wages. Like the Smalling guy and all gets paid 200k per week, man.
It doesn't
Phil
make
Jones
any sense.
Gets 150, 180k and all.
Yeah. I'm like, what is going on? I mean, we don't have a director of football. Like still we don't have a director. I think we are only one of the club we are one of the only clubs in the Premier League that we don't have a director of football. Which just baffles me. Like we are such a huge club. Like you need certain people in certain departments in the club to make footballing decisions.
Yeah, sure.
Like the horror stories that you hear from the board, like the stories about some of the executives who are in charge of the transfers. They don't even know certain players who are there, like trying to sign for the club. Like it just baffles my mind.
I think Woodward once mentioned that most of the footballing decisions in the club are made by non-footballing executives.
Exactly, yeah.
Which really pissed the fans off.
Yeah.
And one of the major reasons why they are, propagating this idea of Glazers out.
Yeah.
So we clearly need good people at the board.
Yeah, but I feel like if in this transfer window, if we don't sign Sancho, I feel like a lot of people will be super pissed.
Oh, people will crucify Ed Woodward, man.
Like especially with
people will stone him to death.
In the last transfer window, just because we didn't sign Bruno Fernandes, there were a lot of people who actually went to Woodward's house and they threw stones at his house and all that, and there was like a whole incident and all that. So I think
the problem.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, and especially in this Corona time where people are already agitated because they have lost their jobs and all that, and sport and especially football is something like an only solace in these hard times. If you don't sign
Yeah.
Sancho, like that is gonna make people even more angry. Like, I
I
don't know
think the
what's
problem
gonna.
lies with the fact that
Yeah.
I think the main problem is that United is focusing on the commercial side of
Exactly.
football,
Yeah.
right? Rather
Yeah.
than on building up an entire squad with talented players.
Yeah.
They're not looking at long-term prospects and all that. They're just looking at establishing a commercial front and targeting new markets and all, which I don't think is the goal at the moment that you want to achieve, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
They are and Woodward is just getting sponsors after sponsors after sponsors.
Yeah.
Which we really don't need. I mean, of course, the club has to grow business-wise, and the valuation and all of that is important.
Yeah.
But what good is all of that if you don't have good players who can give you results?
Like I
Right?
don't I don't
Glazers have always go ahead.
Like I don't get their like business mentality. Like if a club isn't successful, like how can it make money for you? Like if a club was successful on the pitch, obviously everyone would be attracted towards the club, right? You could make whatever the money you want to, you can make whatever the sponsorship you want to. If you don't have a really attractive product where you want to sell to others, like how can you make any money out of it? Like it doesn't make any sense.
Correct. Yeah. And I think this has been quite evident in the performances that we have been putting up for the last 5 or 6 years, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Slowly, I mean, there have been times where the valuation goes really skyrockets, and we are valued at a higher value than some of the other clubs in Europe. But I think there has been a steady decline in the past couple of years in terms of revenue. No, revenue has always been high because we sell a lot of T-shirts, like we always have, and TV rights also we get a lot of money and all that stuff. But the popularity of the club I feel is slowly waning, and also parallelly Liverpool have been doing well, and their steady rise to the top also is sort of a problem.
Exactly.
We just haven't signed good enough players. I think the only good notable signing that we've done in the last 2-3 years is Bruno Fernandes.
And Van de Beek.
I can't remember any other good player. Yeah, Van de Beek, let's see. Van de Beek is yet to prove his mettle.
Yeah, so, and also, like, I think I was reading an article which actually stated that, like the club and the board, whenever we get into the Champions League is when we spend less. And when we are out of the Champions League is when we spend more to get into that Champions League so that we can get money from all that, rights, broadcasting rights and stadium tickets and all that. Which is just frustrating.
You have to finish in the top 4.
Like I know, but still, it is so frustrating. Like, is our goal right now, the top 4 now? Like, is that the new Manchester United, like to get top 4, and that's enough for us? And let's not spend.
I think that's what it's come down to.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's what it's come down to.
But I really want some other billionaire or someone else to come and like buy United off from
transform. Transform United.
I know, like it's
I think United definitely has the firepower to sort of afford any player they want to.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can afford someone like a Sanchez, for Alexis Sanchez for 500k pounds per week, we can definitely sign anyone we want.
We can definitely sign Sancho as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but let's see.
Now is the right time to sign him.
Yeah, but let's see what happens. Anyways, I think it's enough for us, moping around United, and we're just venting on this.
We could go all day.
Yeah, I know, but this is our therapy session. Okay, so all the guys who are like frustrated right now listening to us about United, this is a therapy session. So just sit down and listen to us. That's it.
I think that's going to be the name of this episode. Therapy for United fans.
Therapy for United fans. That's it. Just sit down and listen to us. That's it. And you guys, vent out our frustrations as well. So anyway, I think let's move on to the next match day with our predictions for the next week, because we have some really good cracker games coming up in the next week. So, step in. First game, Everton versus West Brom. What do you think is going to happen?
Should be Everton's game.
Right, especially with that strong performance against Spurs, right? Yeah, they look really solid in the back, and I feel like going forward, I think they have the right firepower to get some goals.
Correct.
Yeah. So Everton for the win. So how much do you think they might win by?
Should be at least 2-0. I'm
2-0, right?
hoping at least 2-0. Yeah, 2-0 I'm hoping. Let's see.
Yeah. So the next one, Leeds United versus Fulham.
Fulham also were recently promoted, right? Their first game was against Arsenal, which they lost 3-0.
Yeah. 3-0.
So this should be Leeds' game. Again, I'm hoping it would be a 2-0.
I feel like this is going to be 3, maybe 4-0, I think. Especially with the start that they got from Liverpool, I feel like they're really confident going into this one.
Yeah, but I'm sure Fulham also would have noted that their defense has cracks.
Yeah.
It's crack. You can crack their defense, and I hope with that thing in mind, I'm hoping it should be a 2-0.
Yeah.
Let's see.
But all in all, Leeds United win, right?
Yeah. Should be Leeds' game.
Yeah. So the next one and the last game for Saturday is Manchester United versus Crystal Palace.
That should be United's game.
Right.
I mean, obviously there is that United bias, but
Yeah.
Palace should not be that big of a threat.
Yeah, I would say maybe 3-1 United, because I feel like Crystal Palace have Zaha, and also they have I think what's his name? Ayu, and also I think maybe is Benteke playing? I don't think so, right?
No. Benteke is not there anymore.
No, right? But still,
No,
like
Benteke,
they have that new right back as well. What's his name? Dimitri Mitchell or something, right?
No, the Tyreek Mitchell. He's a centre back.
Yeah, Tyreek Mitchell. Yeah. So I feel like I think they actually have some firepower going forward as well. So I feel like they might actually get one goal against United.
Sure. Yeah, even I'm expecting a 3-1.
Yeah, 3-1,
Let's
right?
see.
So moving
Hopefully,
on to the next one, Arsenal versus West Ham. Favorite David Moyes, the manager.
Oh, wow. Then it should be an Arsenal game. I'm hoping a 3-0 again.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, David Moyes, I feel like he's going to show his masterstroke again by losing against Arsenal. So,
yeah. Sticking to his strength, which is losing games.
Especially against big teams. Big teams.
Yeah.
So 3-0 for Arsenal, right?
Yes, 3-0 for Arsenal.
Yeah, and the next one, Southampton versus Tottenham.
Southampton were pretty bad in the previous game.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's just that Mourinho thing. So I hope. And is Reguilon joined the team or what?
I think
has he given his medical?
No. I don't think he has still given his medical. So I don't expect both of them to start in this game. So I don't think they will be available for this game.
Yeah, but I think it's that Mourinho thing. No, so I'll just side with Spurs. It should be a Spurs game, maybe 1-0.
Yeah, but we won't be putting. I mean, we will be putting only one Tottenham player into our FPL. That's it. We don't want to take any more risks.
Oh, I really hope Son scores. Man.
Yeah,
Shit.
Me too. Yeah. So moving on, Newcastle versus Brighton. This is actually a pretty hard game to call, I think.
Yeah. Correct. Solely on the back of Brighton's performance against Chelsea, I'm going with Brighton.
I would say
maybe 2-0.
I would say Newcastle 1-0 maybe, because the Newcastle look solid in the back as well, and also they have Callum Wilson and also Andy Carroll as well. So I feel like they have enough firepower to go forward. So I would say 1-0 Newcastle.
Yeah, but defensively, I think Brighton were pretty good against Chelsea, except because if you look at that first goal, which was a penalty, you obviously can't do anything about it. Yeah. And the third goal was completely lucky for Zuma. It just went and deflected off someone and he went through the goal. So I'm hoping Brighton would take this game. Let's see.
Okay. So the next one, Leicester versus Burnley.
Oh, that's an interesting game.
Yeah, right.
That's an interesting game. Burnley has Pope, right? Nick Pope. So
yeah,
I think should be Leicester's game.
Right.
Leicester's game.
Me too.
Maybe like a 1-0.
Yeah, exactly. But I would veer off to a little bit more of a draw. Maybe this one, because Leicester in the last match, I mean, except for the new signing, they weren't exactly that sure when it comes to going forward. And Burnley obviously has a very good defense as well. So I would say maybe this one, I would give it to a draw. Maybe.
I'm still hoping Leicester would take this, because they have really good midfielders who can push the ball forward, and the midfielders are damn creative, and Vardy is always there as the poacher, as the lone striker. So hopefully Leicester should win this pretty easily.
Okay, I'll go with a draw. And the next one, Aston Villa versus Sheffield United.
Yeah, that again should be Sheffield's game. I think Sheffield would be really pissed with their loss against Wolves, and they would want to get back on winning track. So this is their right. I mean, this is obviously the right platform for them to do that. Yeah. So Sheffield's game. Yeah. Maybe like a 2-0.
Yeah, same. Maybe 2-0. And the next one of the big games of the week, that is Wolves versus Man City.
Oh, I think I know Wolves are pretty good, and they are solid defensively. Yeah. But again, it's City. So I'm going to make a outrageous prediction, saying it will be 3-0. Let's say.
3-0.
I know it sounds a little too much, but I'm hoping 3-0. Yeah. But I would be disappointed because I'm not going to have any City players in my FPL team.
I would say, looking at Wolves, they played really well. But City, like we haven't seen City play, right? So I would say
it's just a hunch, man. It's just a hunch that I'm betting on. So
I would say City for the win, maybe 2-0, or maybe even a draw as well, maybe.
Yeah. That's more likely to happen. But I'm just going to make at least one crazy prediction in this line of predictions. So this is it: 3-0 for 3-0 City.
Yeah. So finally the big game: Chelsea versus Liverpool.
Oh, this has to be the game of this year at least.
Yeah. What do you think?
Chelsea Liverpool. It should be Liverpool's game.
With the signings that Lampard has made, don't you really think they have an edge?
No, if you watch the first game, I'm sure you would have had your doubts.
Yeah, and also maybe Ziyech might be starting in this game. I don't really know for sure. Maybe.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you planning on putting him in your team?
No.
Might want to take that risk.
No. No.
Okay.
And also, but I don't even have any transfers left, so I can't even put him in my team.
No, you can do one free transfer, right?
No, I already did that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, there's another tip in case you don't know this. So if you don't make a transfer in this game week, okay, that transfer will be carried on for the next week, game week 3. Nice. So you can make 2 free transfers.
Okay, got it.
But you have to make a transfer in that. You can't carry 2 transfers to the 3rd week.
Okay.
Get what I'm saying?
Yeah, got it.
Maximum is 2.
Yeah, got it.
So you can keep that in mind in case you want to use that strategy sometime.
I'll use that. But so again back to Chelsea versus Liverpool.
It should be Liverpool's game. It should be, I don't know, let's say 2-1 to Liverpool.
2-1 to Liverpool. I would say going by maybe Kai could probably play in the middle, and I'm hoping Ziyech come back in this one. I'm hoping. Because I think that would present a really good challenge for the defense for Liverpool as well. So I would say a draw. Yeah,
I think Liverpool can
because
quite easily, in fact. Actually.
Yeah, because Lampard has already got an upper hand with Klopp last season, so I feel like he might actually find another way to beat Klopp as well. And also they're playing in Stamford Bridge as well. So
okay.
Let's see. I feel like it might be a draw more than
it doesn't matter unless you have the fans. So
yeah, exactly. So I feel like more of a draw.
Okay, I think it should maybe like a 3-1. Yeah, I'll go to that extent.
Yeah,
3-1 or 2-1.
But whatever the score might be, it will be a cracking match to see.
Yeah, it'll be an amazing game. Yeah, hopefully Chelsea recovers and rectifies the mistakes that they committed against Brighton.
Yeah,
and hopefully they bring their A game to this because it's Liverpool.
Yeah, exactly. So with that, that's the end of this episode. I don't think we have anything more to say, right?
Cool. I thought there were more games. Cool.
No. Nice. That's it.
Amaze. So that's our prediction, guys. Let us know what your predictions are in the comments.
Down in the comment section below.
And yeah, is there anything else that we have to cover?
No. That's it. I think. Hopefully in the next episode we'll be covering Sancho's transfer to United. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah. When is the deadline? October 5th, right?
October 5th,
the deadline for transfer?
Like 18 days left.
Hopefully there is some improvement, at least some progression with respect to our transfers.
Yeah.
Sign somebody, dude. Somebody, please.
I know, dude. It's so frustrating. Oh my God. It's getting kind of irritating now.
It's getting on our nerves.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But anyways, so thank you for watching thank you for listening to the podcast. Why am I saying watching? Okay, we are on YouTube. Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, watching if you're on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. So that's it for this.
Do follow us on Spotify, guys.
And FPL as well.
Available on Spotify as well.
And FPL
FPL, if you want to join, we have the league code in the previous couple of episodes, the previous 2 episodes.
And also this one. This one as well.
Okay, so Dhanush has said that he'll list it here as well.
Exactly.
So please feel free to join the league. We shall have some fun.
Yeah.
All right then.
Yeah. We'll see you in the next one.
Take care. Bye-bye.